Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Think Before You Hate podcast, where we'll discuss the latest topics on civil rights here in the city of Chicago. I'm Alex of the Chicago Commission on Human Relations, and we are the city's civil rights agency. We work diligently to eliminate prejudice and discrimination in Chicago by enforcing the city's human rights ordinance, as well as the Fair Housing Ordinance. And today we have the great pleasure of speaking to Juliet Gilbert, who will educate us on her organization, CARPLS, and how they provide legal services for marginalized communities here in Chicago. So, Juliet, welcome. Thank you very much for hopping onto this podcast today. Now, will you please tell me, and our audience, rather, a little bit about yourself? Where did you grow up? How did you start your career?
Thanks, Alex. Well, I was born and raised in Chicago. I lived in public housing with my parents and siblings. I was fortunate, I think, to have parents who encouraged me to study and get good grades in school. So I initially wanted to be a social worker and work with neighborhood organizations to empower communities. But I later decided that I would be more effective as an advocate if I became a lawyer. And that's when I decided to go to law school. And my first job out of law school was with the Legal Assistance Foundation of Chicago. It's now known as Legal Aid Chicago. And my first job was working in a neighborhood law office in Lawndale and later in Westtown. So I've had a pretty lengthy career. I've been licensed to practice in Illinois for 46 years. April 26th was my anniversary date, 46 years as a lawyer. I haven't been in Illinois the whole time, though. I've gone to several different states to practice law. And so I used to work for the Illinois Attorney General's office in the Consumer Protection Division. And after that job, I decided to move to Texas, where I worked for a very small legal aid program in South Texas. Then later, I decided I had to go back to public interest law as I was practicing with the Illinois Attorney General's office. I really liked doing public interest law, so I then worked for the Texas Attorney General's office, Consumer Protection Division, and that was an awesome job because I was involved, and we as an office were involved with multi-state litigation that we worked with other state AGs. So that was just an awesome experience for me.
Yes, well, thank you very much for giving us a little brief intro on your background. Now, you're staff attorney for CARPLS, which my understanding stands for Coordinated Advice and Referral Program for Legal Services. Will you please let our audience know more about CARPLS?
Yes, and it's a tongue twister to say that, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we call it CARPLS. CARPLS has been around for many years, since 1993. And we have several hotlines. We have our main or general hotline. We have our hotline for consumer debt and evictions. We have a hotline for New Leaf, where we help people expunge their cannabis arrests and convictions. We have so many different desks at the Daily Center as well. And we have about 50 staff attorneys and paralegals in our program.
Oh, well, thank you for letting us know a little bit about CARPLS. Now, what are some of the most common legal issues that your clients face?
We have so many different legal issues that we address. People call us about consumer debt, evictions, but they also call about family law matters like divorces or custody issues, adoption. So it's everything. We also get calls regarding criminal matters. So we get calls about every single legal matter you can imagine.
Wow. So just a whole wide array of services then.
Yes, definitely.
Now, can you talk a bit about a misconception the public may have about the people CARPLS serves, specifically referring to the fact that one might think it's only for marginalized communities that are disproportionately impacted by legal issues, when in fact the working poor also finds itself in as much a need of legal assistance. Can you expand on this?
Yes, definitely. CARPLS provides free legal advice and referrals to low and moderate income people who are residents of Cook County. And so our income guidelines are actually more flexible than any other Cook County program. So we accommodate the working poor who earn too much to qualify for conventional legal assistance, but they can't afford private representation. So we accommodate that population as well.
Very well then. Now, could you share a recent example where assistance from CARPLS significantly changed a client's situation?
Yes, I certainly can. And some of these may sound, so simple, but it means so much to the people who are being served that their problem was resolved. So, and the people who I'm going to talk about are people who have given us a release so that we can talk about their case. So Vera called our hotline because her bank had deleted a refund that she had gotten, and she needed that refund to pay her bills. And so we guided her through the process of how to get that money back into her bank account. And she said that she got all her money back. And she said, "Thank you so much. Keep doing what you do."
Perfect.
And then Danny called us about a subsidized housing issue. And he said for the very first time he felt that his voice was heard regarding his legal issue. And he thought that the attorney who he spoke with gave him great advice, and he was very, very grateful. So we get people who, when they call us, we send them a survey to see how they felt about the service that was given to them. And so we get so many, wonderful compliments on the type of advice we give and how we make people feel that they were heard and that they have a path to resolve their legal issue.
Perfect. That's great to hear. Now, how does CARPLS engage with communities it serves to ensure that their services meet their evolving needs and that clients are aware of the resources available to them?
Well, recently, CARPLS created a community engagement initiative where we partner with neighborhood organizations to provide Know Your Rights workshops and pop-up clinics on different legal matters. And so we participated in so many of these workshops, and these events take place all over the city. It's not just in one neighborhood, just, north side, south side, west side.
Everywhere.
Everywhere, yes.
Very well then. Now, what are some of the key challenges and opportunities for legal aid organizations like CARPLS in advancing civil rights and ensuring equitable access to justice?
Well, there are some challenges in doing so because of funding cuts. Because there's such a great need, we need to do more, and we need more funding. So that's a challenge, getting more funding to do more to help people. And so we're always looking for ways to work with other legal aid programs and organizations and community partners to see what we can do together. So, for example, with our eviction hotline, we partner with other legal aid programs to work together to give advice to people who are facing eviction in court. And so we work together. We meet quite often to talk about how we can better provide services to people who are facing evictions.
Very well then. Thank you for letting us know about your background and your history in teaching law. Now, is there anything else that you wanted to add that we didn't discuss today that you would like our audience to know?
Yes, I wanted to talk more about CARPLS and what we do. And so we've been around since 1993, as I think I mentioned. And we have provided approximately 85,000 legal services each year to Illinois residents. And since we were started our legal aid program, we have provided more than 1 million legal services since 1993. And we're very proud of that. And I'd like to talk about what we're doing out in the community.
Please, yeah. Interesting to know.
And so we started this community engagement initiative very recently. We partner with neighborhood organizations to provide Know Your Rights workshops and pop-up clinics on different legal matters. And to date, we have participated in about 125 in-person and virtual engagement opportunities. We've answered general questions about the types of services that CARPLS offers. And these events have taken place in neighborhoods including Humboldt Park, West Humboldt Park, North Lawndale, Pilsen, Austin, Little Village, Garfield Park, Woodlawn, Washington Park, Bronzeville, South Shore, Chatham, Morgan Park, Pullman, and Roseland, as well as suburban communities, including Oak Lawn, Matheson, Evanston, Schaumburg, South Holland, and Wheaton. So we've done a lot.
Yeah,
We're everywhere.
It sounds like it.
So in addition to the general presentations that we've given, we've presented more than 47 Know Your Rights workshops to specific audiences. And so those topics include landlord-tenant law, public benefits, transfer on death, instruments, foreclosure prevention, powers of attorneys, bankruptcy, financial scams affecting seniors, reverse mortgages, just so many different things we talk about in these Know Your Rights workshops. We help people regarding expungements and sealing of their records. We talk to people about veterans' benefits, home savings for seniors, and the pop-up clinic for transfer upon death instruments is really important because what it does is we help people transfer their property and fill out the forms and have things signed so that when they die, their heirs don't have to go into probate court, which can be very costly and complicated. So this makes it very easy for people to be able to transfer what they have to their loved ones, and so their loved ones don't have to deal with going to court. So that's been a very successful workshop that we've been doing.
Perfect. Now, if anyone wants to contact CARPLS, how can they do so?
Well, the phone number to our general hotline is 312-738-9200. And our website is, www.carpls.org.
Wonderful. Now, my last question, as we're slowly wrapping up our conversation, here's the question I'm going to ask you that I ask every single guest on this podcast. In your opinion, what can our listeners do in their everyday lives to combat hate and discrimination?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. And in my opinion, any one of us can be an advocate for the abolition of hate and discrimination. And I think it's simple. We just have to speak up. When we observe someone being victimized, we shouldn't just turn the other way and say, it's not me. We really need to speak up. And if it's safe to do so, we can confront the aggressor. But if it's not safe, then certainly we should call 911 on their behalf. And so if we look the other way, we're really pretty much complicit in the hate crime.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. It's a collective effort. It's definitely easy to just walk away and act like it's, no, not my problem. But speaking up is a simple but powerful act. Well, Juliet, thank you very much for your time and discussing CARPLS with us, and I really appreciate your wisdom and letting us know, not just myself, but all our listeners and the people of Chicago know about CARPLS and what services CARPLS has to offer. And thank you all to our listeners for tuning in to the Think Before You Hate podcast. Remember, if you or anybody you know feels that they've been a victim of discrimination, please do not hesitate to contact the Chicago Commission on Human Relations at 312-744-4111. Again, that is 312-744-4111. Please follow us on our social platforms. We are on Facebook, LinkedIn, X, Instagram, and most recently Blue Sky. And until next time, remember, think before you hate.